There's a secret sitting in every sporting goods store today. A $3 tarp setup that keeps you warm and dry all night in the wild. No tent, no sleeping pad, no gear brand involved. Just paracord, canvas, and a method they stopped teaching. American campers spent $400 last season on gear that failed them in the first rainstorm. This shelter costs $6 to build in the field. No poles, no stakes, no special tools, no experience needed. It stays bone dry in a downpour, using nothing but 2 trees and 20 minutes of setup. Native Americans used the same principle for thousands of years. Military survival instructors built it into training programs through the 60s. Then, in 1970, something changed, and it disappeared. Almost nobody alive today has ever been taught this method exists. Welcome to the Hidden Camping Vault. Subscribe and hit the bell if this knowledge matters to you. This is where we open what the outdoor industry locked away. The story begins beneath the pine canopy of a Lakota winter camp long ago. In the 1400s, Plains Scouts built the lean to debris shelter. Angled branches trapped warm air against the ground below. Entire hunting parties stayed warm and dry with no fire burning inside. No smoke, no flame, no combustion of any kind required. Pure, radiant ground heat rising silently through the night. When explorers documented these camps in the 1800s, they found structural lashings still intact after decades of hard seasons. Zero rot. Zero decay. Native guides carried this shelter method across all of North America through winter hunts and seasonal migrations. By the industrial age, this knowledge had been completely erased, buried under decades of canvas tents, iron stakes, and catalog gear. Then, in 1875, a British Army survival instructor named Harwick rebuilt the ancient method from scratch. Natural cordage holds tension beyond what modern nylon webbing can match under sustained load. Harwick tested his system in a Scottish Highland winter. Soldiers who had never slept dry through a hard rain suddenly felt genuine warmth in every corner of the structure, even with temperatures plunging below freezing outside. No electricity, no manufactured insulation, no monthly bill arriving in the mail. By 1920, this design had arrived in the United States. Scout leaders began using passive debris shelter in camps across the Northeast, the Midwest, and the expanding national forests. Before we go further, I want to give you something valuable today. I collected everything the outdoor industry buried on this method inside the Hidden Camping Vault, ready and waiting for you now. Natural shelter blueprints with full dimensions and materials. Step-by-step instructions any camper can follow this weekend. The setup trick that doubles the warmth of your debris shelter. Historical records on passive systems that vanished after 1970. Over 10 complete guides in one place with zero filler. Link is in the description, or scan the QR code on your screen. Stay right here. This video has only just started. In 1945, entire generations of scouts built debris shelters as core survival training. The structure became a silent insulator, warming every sleeping area from below. No cold gaps, no wind cutting through from the sides. Families who knew this method spent a fraction of what others wasted on gear that still failed in real outdoor conditions. Some of those field techniques taught in 1952 are still being used today without one upgrade ever made. 70 years of reliable survival. Zero cost. Zero failure. If you made it here, you already know more about wilderness survival than 99% of campers in this country. Subscribe and share with someone still spending $400 a season on something that should cost almost nothing. Everything is inside the vault right now. Here is where the numbers become impossible to deny. Dead air insulation holds heat at a value 10 times greater than open exposure. A debris layer of 12 inches creates an insulating barrier equivalent to a rated winter sleeping bag. Nylon tent walls pull body heat away through the night continuously. A properly built debris shelter retains warmth 8 times more efficiently than an uninsulated tent floor in freezing temperatures. That is not a small difference. That is a different category entirely. So why does nobody know this, and why is it never taught? Why did outdoor programs in 1980 stop using natural shelter methods entirely? The answer is $12 billion per year in revenue. Every tent sold creates a repeat customer replacing poles and zippers for decades. Every sleeping pad means a new purchase every few seasons. The outdoor industry does not sell survival. It sells dependence. You cannot patent pine needles layered against a fallen branch. You cannot charge a markup for paracord wrapped around 2 trees. The entire gear business model requires that you stay dependent. A $6 shelter setup threatens all of that revenue. It was never going to be taught anywhere. In 1972, the United States military commissioned a full report on passive natural shelter for field survival training. The study found passive debris adoption could cut cold weather casualties by 40% across all operations. That report was filed, archived, and never released to the public. 1 year later, the outdoor recreation boom of 1973 arrived. Spending on gear tripled within months. Natural shelter methods were quietly removed from all Scout curricula. By 1980, this knowledge had completely vanished from outdoor education. Here is exactly how to build it yourself this weekend. Find 2 trees standing roughly 7 feet apart. Cut one ridgepole branch at least 9 feet long and 2 inches thick. Rest it in the fork of each tree at waist height. Lean branches at a 45-degree angle along both sides of the ridgepole. Weave smaller sticks horizontally across the framework. Layer dead leaves and pine needles at least 12 inches thick over the frame. Drape a tarp over the debris layer and anchor with paracord at each corner. Lay a ground debris mat 6 inches thick inside for insulation. The structure traps your warmth. The debris insulates from ground cold below. Your body temperature holds through the night. A hiker in Oregon cut her exposure risk by 70% last winter after building a debris lean-to on a surprise overnight in the Coast Range. A retired scout leader in Montana assembled the full system in one afternoon and has not purchased a replacement tent in 3 seasons since. This knowledge did not vanish because it failed. It vanished because it worked too well for the industry to allow it. You cannot meter dead leaves. You cannot bill pine needles for insulating a sleeping body. And what cannot be sold will always be buried by those who profit when you buy. This is the method they stopped teaching after 1970. $6 of materials in one afternoon can give it back to you now. The full blueprint is inside the hidden camping vault today. Every measurement, every technique, every efficiency tip. Link is in the description or scan the QR code on your screen. This knowledge did not die. It was waiting for someone to find it. If this video opens something for you, subscribe and share it now. Every single share preserves what the industry tried hard to erase. The next vault opens soon. What is inside?